Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Black Desert Mobile, my honest review about the game, and in the same time my progression series, because why not? My intention is basically to reach Endgame, to explore as much as I can, and then if I still feel like playing it, then maybe make some more content in the future. I more or less started the game, I believe 12 days ago or so, at least that's what the attendance says in game, and I started the game just purely because it says Black Desert and I expected to get more or less a cut down version of the PC Black Desert game. I expected to get a lot of grinding spots, some life skills. I expected to have the game to have a bigger focus maybe on life skills or passive types of income, and from what I heard from other people, the game was kind of pay to win and that it wasn't anything spectacular and that it more or less suffers from the same issues as most other mobile games. I was ready to accept all of that, and honestly, after playing it, currently I'm, I believe, level 54, I'm still AFK grinding, and so far I'm not exactly disappointed. I am disappointed in other ways than I thought I would normally be. So I can't really show you footage of how I started because I didn't initially want to make this video. I realized I should actually record something after I reached level 32, and so basically you didn't really miss anything. If you played any version of Black Desert, the console or the PC versions, you know how it feels like to start the game. Basically you make a character. The character creator in the mobile version is, in my opinion, decent. It's not as good as the PC version, but it's good enough, it does its job, and it's probably the best I've seen so far for a mobile game. Now, once you have your class, which in this case can only be one of the 5 ones that were actually released, so Ranger, Witch, Berserker, Valkyrie and Warrior I believe, you can only pick out of those 5. I personally went with a Witch because I expected to get basically a ranged mage that has heals like it does on the PC version. I wanted a class that I can casually play with, especially since I would have to play on my tablet, and because I wanted those heals. I believe I didn't mention a disclaimer or something at the beginning of the video, which I have to. I just remembered now. I wanted to say that I initially wanted to install this game on my phone, but my phone being 5 years old at this point, the Play Store doesn't even allow me to install the game in the first place, so I had to play it on my tablet, which is an iPad, and it's, square basically. So I will have to kind of apologize because half of this video will be, in the square aspect ratio. Nothing I can do about that. The only footage, all of the footage you see on the screen that is actually wide is because I installed later down the road an Android emulator for my PC. But we can get into that later. So after you create your character, again I picked the Witch, you start doing questing, which is more or less the same as the PC or the console version of Black Desert. I don't really have much of an issue, in fact I have to commend it because it's much better done in my opinion than the PC version. The storyline, from what I noticed, is fully voiced over. I didn't really listen to it for more than about an hour or 2, after which I basically got bored because it seemed too slow paced, and it still suffers from the exact same issue as the PC version, where you basically do quest after quest after quest. It's basically questing. If you are into questing, you might enjoy it. Again, it's voiced over, so you might enjoy that, but after an hour or 2 I got bored and I just started skipping everything. Now, even to this day, I'm still doing questing. So far, I've done nothing but questing and other events and stuff like that, but until I got to level 30 something, when I actually have clips that are already playing in the background, up until that point I did nothing but questing and some enhancements. Now, talking about enhancements, that's another point that I could actually talk about. The enhancement system on the mobile version is actually pretty well done in my opinion. At least I find it more tolerable than the PC version, and it's actually one of the reasons why I stuck to it up to level 54. On the PC version, most of you who follow my channel know that I don't enhance. I basically made it a custom that I don't enhance anything, I just buy my gear because I hate the disappointment that I get out of the RNG system. Now, on the mobile version, it works a little bit different. Gear doesn't have durability, so you don't have to repair it or stuff like that. There is no fail stacking system, so you don't really have to fail stack. Instead, you have different types of blackstones, basically ranging from low, very poor quality to the very high grade ones, and they give you different numbers of, let's say the poor ones give you 1% success rate per blackstone, and the higher tier ones give you like 20% per blackstone. So you use those to enhance, and you can basically choose your own percentage to enhance depending on how many blackstones you want to use. And from what I've seen, the only thing that would stop you from spamming enhancements is that you actually need a minimum of 10% to attempt an enhancement. So anything over 10% success rate you can basically use to attempt enhancements. If it fails, you can recover the sum of the percentage of that, of what you had, but basically there is no real penalty of failing enhancements. They don't degrade, at least not so, as far as I got. Maybe they do degrade, downgrade once you get to the higher tiers, so let's say plus 20, 30, not exactly 20, maybe 30 plus. Currently I got my gear, the best one is I believe plus 23, and from what I've seen 35 is the maximum, or it seems to no longer care if you have anything above that. So maybe it does downgrade later on, but currently I'm enjoying it just because I find the game to be more or less an enhancing simulator. It's literally, you get a lot of blackstones from the main quest line and from the bosses and all of that, and basically it's an enhancing simulator, and you just roll the dice to see if you succeed or fail. So if anything, I can say I'm actually having quite a bit of fun, I suppose, with the enhancements. Now keep in mind, I am a casual player, I don't really have high expectations out of games. There are probably a lot of you out there who play a lot of mobile games, in which case yes, Black Desert feels like just another cookie cutter game where you grind a lot AFK, you don't even have to do much. I was really surprised that at some point, maybe after level 20 or something, you unlock the auto grinding button, where you can basically have your character grind for you. It grinds AFK. You can do bosses AFK, basically doing nothing. The character plays the game for you. You can do anything basically AFK. You can do AFK gathering for resources. You can even use at some point, once you level up your Black Spirit, you unlock options to actually AFK, to grind and to gather while being offline. So that's basically the top tier doing nothing in the game. You literally put your Black Spirits to grind for you, I believe for up to 3 hours while the game is closed. You don't even have to keep it open. So it's definitely another one of those games where the more time you spend, I suppose, the more gear you're going to get, and you don't really have to do much. The game plays itself. Now, is it pay to win? I would say yes, but then again, it's a free game, so I kind of expected that. I was hoping it wouldn't be too much. I don't know yet how pay to win it is, because obviously I don't have too much time in it, maybe 1.5 weeks so far, but from what I've seen on the marketplace, you can definitely get a lot of convenience items, excluding the basics that even the PC version has, getting pets, getting higher tier pets, getting costumes, weight limit, inventory spaces and all of that. You can obviously get the memory fragments for enhancements, you can get accessories, which I have to touch on. On this game, from what I've noticed, there are only 2 types of enhanceable items that seem to be harder to get. Armors and weapons are enhanced with blackstones, which you can get in-game very easily, but accessories on the other hand, those are enhanced with other accessories, just like in Black Desert, but unlike the PC version where if you crash, if you enhance 2 accessories and if they fail, they disappear. In this game they don't disappear, instead accessories don't cost silver, you buy them with I believe black pearls or something like that they are named. It's an in-game currency that is more or less the same as loyalty points on the PC version of Black Desert. It's definitely annoying to some extent because it's much harder to get those pearls, the purple ones or black, whatever they are named, and basically you can only buy accessories using those, so you are kind of limited to how many enhancements you can do on accessories. I didn't really get to a point where I ran into issues because of that, because basically I have enough currently. I buy them from the marketplace every now and then, the accessories I mean, and I still didn't run out of those pearls, because the purple ones, because I believe I'm too low level to need enough of them. But I can see that being an issue later on. I'm already starting to see that issue because my armor is decently enhanced, but my accessories are still at most +8 or +9, and that's because failing them at that enhancement level costs me a lot to recover the enhancement, and because again you need those pearls to get the accessories, and on the marketplace accessories are, at least the blue grade ones, are mostly sold out. By the way, I will say, depending on how much I have to actually say, I don't script, so depending on how long this video is, I will have to cut a lot of the failed enhancements, basically whatever is playing in the background. I have a lot of enhancement clips with fails and successes, and if you see me succeeding way too often in the background, just think that, just realize that I had to cut a lot of those fails to make the video. So that's more or less it for the enhancement system in the game. Now, another issue that I immediately saw once I started the game is the graphics. Most people say that the graphics in this game are amazing, they look very good, but that depends what you play the game on. For someone like me who has a very old phone, 5 years old, and I basically only use it for phone calls and stuff like that, I can't even install the game on my phone, and I am forced to play it on my tablet. My tablet has a 9.7 inch screen, which is pretty big in my opinion, and this game is definitely not optimized for tablets. I noticed that immediately once I started the game because everything seemed so low resolution. After I installed an emulator on my PC, and I basically installed the game on my PC, and I maxed out the settings and I minimized the window to be basically let's say about twice the size of a normal phone screen, yeah, I realized that the game actually looks pretty good if you play it on a very small screen on a phone, but on my tablet it looks, again, it looks lower resolution. From what I noticed, and again this is guesswork because they don't really give you numbers in game, on the settings window you basically have to choose between low, medium, high or maximum when it comes to the resolution, and the low resolution to me looks like a 240p video, the medium one looks like 480p, and the high resolution looks like 720p. So if I want the game to look kind of decent on my tablet, I have to go for the maximum tab, and even that one to me doesn't look like it's running on the native resolution of my tablet, so that kind of hurts a little, and I had to get adjusted to it because other games that I play on my tablet look better because they do run at the native resolution, so keep that in mind. If you if you plan to play this on a tablet, it might not look that good. Also, the game requires a lot of resources to run. It's the first game so far that my tablet cannot run maxed out, and it definitely, I guess, goes to show that the game has good graphics. It requires some newer phones to run it, and I don't know what else to say. I just had to mention the fact that the resolution seems very weird to me. It doesn't feel optimized at all for tablet use. Since when did this video turn into an actual review? I kind of wanted this to be more of a progression, and I still didn't explain much in terms of my progression in the game. Still, besides questing and enhancements and all of that, you might ask at this point, but how is the gameplay? You know, every MMO has questing in the beginning, there's nothing new in that aspect. Every MMO has enhancement systems, all of them are different to some extent. I like the fact that the Black Spirit looks different compared to the PC version, so that's a nice change. I like the housing system. Here you don't have houses, you have a camp, which basically serves the purpose of the house. You can decorate it and put buildings in it and stuff and all of that. Currently there is an event ongoing which I'm farming as much as possible because it gives you some tokens which you can exchange for Christmas decorations, and I placed out of those on my camp. I would say the camp system feels like a combination of the housing system in the PC version and all of the Farmville stuff from other mobile games. It seems interesting, it's fun to poke around with it. Again, I spent some good time decorating my own camp with all of the Christmas decorations, and I'm curious if it's going to have any other purpose in the future other than just passively producing stuff. I forgot to point out how you get equipment, but at this point you saw from the background clips because, you know, as I said, I will have to put a lot of them to fill the video. The way you acquire gear in this game, at least what I've seen so far, is mainly through the Shakatu gear shop, which you need some gold coins, I forgot the name for them, to basically roll the dice for equipment, and you mainly get those from doing bosses or the ruins boss, which I can't be bothered to check its name. There are two different types of dungeons in this game, at least currently. One of them is with the normal bosses, if you know the field bosses in the PC version of Black Desert. Basically those bosses, but now they have different instances, you know, dungeons for each of them. You can automatically clear them, so yeah, it's nothing spectacular, and you get those bosses through some, you know, scrolls that you exchange every day. And the other type of dungeon is one where you make parties, you know, 5-man parties, and it's some ruins boss that has 20 health bars. And it's more or less the same as the field bosses, but this one requires a party to clear because you need some higher gear score to actually do it. It doesn't seem to be that original in my opinion, but I suppose it gets the job done. As I said, currently I see this game as literally an enhancing simulator. I just keep on rolling the dice to get better gear. Gear scales from green grade, then blue grade, then we have the purple grade, the yellow grade, which I can't be bothered to check their names, then there's some orange to red grade, and then the boss gear. Currently I started with full green gear, then I quickly got to blue grade gear because that's fairly easy to get from the Shakatu rolls, and then slowly I built the purple grade gear, which has, I suppose, a slightly lower chance to drop, and I managed to roll 2 of the gold grade gears, I'm just gonna name them that, for my weapons. I first got a main weapon, and then basically yesterday a sub weapon as yellow grade. So you basically, from what I've seen so far, to get gear you just have to get as many of those coins and just keep rolling the Shakatu shop as much as possible and pray for the RNGs to give you a good weapon. As an alternative, I guess you could just let your phone grind AFK as much as possible and then buy the weapons from the marketplace. I guess I could also talk about the marketplace in here. So what I mostly used it for at the moment is just to buy accessories, the ones that I said require those purple pearls, because anything else is currently irrelevant to buy. The game is too new to say what prices will be unless they are actually, hard capped, and I don't know. But the prices seem to be very high for a lot of stuff, and I don't really bother to buy them. I sold some of the purple grade gear, they take a while to sell, and anything under that I just simply feed to the Black Spirit. Now, two things that I noticed are inexistent in the marketplace are crystals. You cannot buy crystals from the marketplace, and also food buffs, which you might be able to craft them in your camp, the camp at some point, but I currently didn't see any of those options, so you cannot buy those. And in terms of selling stuff, it's fairly limited. I believe you can only register 5 items at most, and you can only collect the money from 3 items at most per day, which is very limiting in my opinion, and it basically encourages you to only sell stuff that is very expensive or very profitable. You cannot just sell a lot of stuff at once like you do on the PC version. It's literally capped. Now, I mentioned the Black Spirit earlier, so I guess I could talk about that one. In my opinion, the simplest way to describe it for people who play the PC version is it's a fairy with extra use. So the way you level up the Black Spirit is by feeding it a lot of accessory, any accessory, any weapon, any armor. That's how you level it up, or with some essences. And in my opinion, it serves as a meter, I guess, to what level you are. I'm not sure if the Black Spirit is capped at level 100, mine is currently level 98, so I will find out soon, I suppose. But currently, from what I see, every time you level him up, he gives you free gear score. The game works on a gear score system, which is basically what most mobile games work on. You have individual stats from your equipment and other sources, and then you have an overall gear score which describes how strong you are, and depending on that gear score you are allowed or not allowed to enter higher stages of dungeons. I don't really have anything to complain about that because it's more or less the standard. You have a number of gear score and that's how strong you are. There are a lot of games who work in the same way, and I don't really have an issue with it, mostly because it gives me that feeling of progression. The main reason why I stuck to the game for these almost 2 weeks is just because I get a feeling of progression every single time I open the game. You get Blackstones easily from the main questline and other sources, and since I just started and enhancements are pretty easy, at low enhancement levels, it gives me that feeling of I'm progressing little by little, I'm leveling up my stuff little by little. Also, as you level up, basically, at level 20 you unlock, or something like that, you unlock the option to automatically grind. At some point you unlock the option to level up all of your skills at once. The way you level up skills here is by you get these skill books for each individual skill. You get them from different sources, from quests, from grinding as drops, and you basically get books and you use those to level up your skills. And as you level up on the game, you unlock more and more buttons to do stuff automatically, or at least to do stuff in bulk, to, let's say, collect all at once and stuff like that. So overall the game isn't anything groundbreaking. If you enjoy games with progression systems and that encourage you to be as much time AFK as possible, I guess you would have a good time with it. I'm currently enjoying the game for what it is, and I don't know how long I will stick with it. I will most likely name this my road to Endgame or something like that, because as soon as I stop getting the dopamine, I suppose, of progression in the game and I run out of stuff to do, I might get bored and decide to quit. I don't know, depends if people actually want to see content for this or not. Some other stuff that I guess I forgot to mention, there's also a night vendor in this game, just like on the PC version, but the night vendor here has such outrageous prices, at least for a new player, that I really couldn't see the purpose of buying anything from him. There are a lot of ongoing events currently. I did feel encouraged to buy a pet. I initially wanted to have this account be 100% free to play, but then I decided I'm just going to buy one pet and that's it. That's as much as I will put into this game. You are given one pet for free when you start the game, at least currently that's the case, it might change in the future, and then you get a second pet which you don't get for free, you unlock to be able to buy it with the in-game purple pearls once your Black Spirit reaches level 5 awakening. So basically, more or less around level 50 you are given a total of 2 free pets, and from what I see you can only have 3 pets active at once, so I bought one for myself. The pets seem to be very slow. The tier 1 pets loot once every 1 minute and 45 seconds, basically almost 2 minutes, in between actually picking up something from the ground, so they do seem very slow. I don't know how much faster higher tier 1s are, and again, yes, the game is more or less pay to win. If you want to play this as a casual player and just enjoy it for what it is, for let's say killing some time every now and then and doing some progression here and there for a couple of weeks or a month, then you will most likely have fun with it. But if you want to play it competitively and say that you want to be the best or whatever, then the game is kind of pay to win, and I'm pretty sure everyone who is on the top lists will, they spend a lot. I already see people with very high gear numbers even though the game was just released, and I assume all of those people who are on the top 10 or top 50, all of them spent a lot of cash on the game. Spending money definitely makes it easier in most aspects, so I can't say that the game is not pay to win, but again, it's a free game. You don't lose anything to try it, at least try it out. So as my closing statements, let me see if I forgot to point something out, and if I didn't, then I can end the video. Oh yeah, I forgot to actually point out some stuff. So first of all, in terms of world bosses, those that are not they are in dungeons as well, but bosses that I suppose you're doing with other players, a world boss. We only have the witch one around the Hexe Sanctuary, I forgot its name, and also Xarka. So there's only 2 of them currently. I'm pretty sure they are going to add more, but currently there's only that. I saw a notice in game or some event that says pre-media release, so I suppose we are going to get the media expansion pretty soon for mobile, which is nice, because it's nice knowing that the game doesn't just end at Calfian. I assume level 55 or so is where you're going to stop with the Calfian questline, and then maybe going towards level 60 it's going to be media once it's released. There's also a system in game which allows you to trade certain items, which I find to be pretty bad, in a way. I do have a couple of trade items in my inventory. At least it says they are for delivery, and it's weird because I have not a lot of them. Let's say I have 3 of one item, 2 of one item, 5 of a different item. The annoying part is that you can only turn in 1 of them at a time, and you only see 5 of them per page, and if you want to refresh the page it costs you a lot of energy. So if you have, like me, a couple of those trade items in your inventory, I don't even see the point of turning them in. I might as well just sell them to the NPC. So that seemed weird to me. And also there's a system which is similar, I suppose, to the Bartali logs, the adventure logs on the PC version, where you do quests to get certain stats. There's something like that implemented here as well, where you can basically turn in certain items, certain pieces of armor or crystals or gears to again unlock certain stats. So that's very similar to the Bartali questline. There's also some form of those stones thingies. You know what, I think that's about it. I'm not supposed to describe the entire game. I just wanted to give my opinion about it and what I thought about it, and just overall my first impression of it and what I did so far. Am I enjoying my experience with it? Yes, absolutely. I will most likely keep playing it for at least a couple more weeks until I run out of stuff to do, or maybe I will just keep on playing it if I find the end game aspect of it interesting. So thanks for watching. I hope you found this very useful. If you did, then you did. If you didn't, then sorry to disappoint you. I will see you with a different video. Until then, well, keep doing your progression, keep doing your business. I'm going to do stuff and yeah, I will end the video.